Hello YouTube, Top Notch Sports back once again, and I've been going, through the NFL a lot, great deal, an abundance of videos on the National Basketball Association, but I kind of want to change a little bit and go with the MLB. I was usually a die-hard MLB fan. I'm still a guy. I still play baseball. I still play in high school, but over the last few years, the game is I've kind of lost interest, not in the playing aspect, but watching it on television. And it's starting to, biogenesis and, all those things, the steroids that happened, that did catch catch my interest, but the actual, quality of the baseball in terms of, from the entertainment standpoint, I'm starting to really look into it again and, start watching it a little bit. The races are tightening. The games are starting to intensify. They mean more. It's starting to catch my interest once again. But the one team that I think has caught everybody's interest should be, and I would say is, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Huge winning streak. I don't even know what they are in the last whatever games, but they're on fire. And I just want to analyze, is this team for real? Can this team not just make the playoffs, and hold on, or maybe make a little bit of noise in the playoffs, or are they the real deal? Can they win the World Series? Can they at least make it to the World Series? I say absolutely yes, and here's why. I'm going to go through these 4 aspects that every team, if you want to win the World Series, this is what teams have. Starting pitching, hitting. Now, I don't think you have to be a juggernaut hitting team, but you have to at least put up runs. Now, like you look at the Giants, they weren't a great hitting team, but they were able to, situational hitting, manufacturing runs, they're able to get by. But that's what I mean by hitting. Fielding, can you make the routine plays? Are you going to give up easy outs? Or, you're going to get the outs you're supposed to get and play solid baseball in terms of fielding. Depth. Do you have depth on your pitching staff? Do you have some, do you have a good amount of arms in your bullpen, which by the way, I don't think you need a fantastic bullpen. I'd rather have the great starting pitching and an average bullpen that just can go in and do the job, and have starters that can, get you deep into the ball game. Depth in your field. Can you have guys that can pinch hit? Can you have guys that you could throw in the field because they have a good glove out there? Can you sustain an injury? I look at the Los Angeles Dodgers. I say they have all 4. And I'm going to start with the starting pitching. The 5 guys they have are solid, but in the MLB playoffs, it turns into more of a 3-man gig in terms of how they rest. Some pitchers can really pitch on 3 days. I've seen this before. You got guys like Cliff Lee used to do it all the time. CC Sabathia, Justin Verlander, guys of that stature, and I say, absolutely, they have starting pitching. It's ludicrous to say they don't have starting pitching. You got one of the best aces in the game, who I believe has under a 2 ERA, in Clayton Kershaw. That's the one thing you especially need in the starting pitching. You need an ace to carry you. You need a horse to carry you through the playoffs. These guys have it. Just like Detroit Tigers had Verlander last year, and the San Francisco Giants had a guy like Matt Cain. These guys have it. They have Kershaw. They have the guy who can start the series on the right note, end it on the right note, Kershaw. They have Greinke, who is an ace on most teams. He's also on their team, and he's their number 2. I don't know how to pronounce the 3rd guy's name. Very good pitcher. Solid. He's going to be better than most number 3 starters you throw out there. Then Capuano and Ricky Nolasco as your 4 and 5s. They could be long relievers in the bullpen, or they can start a game for you. So that's, the 3 is very good, and then you have, on the outside of that 3, those 3 main pitchers, guys that can throw innings for you. So pitching, especially starting pitching, absolutely not a problem. Check. Hitting. Now, what did I say about hitting? I don't think you have to be a juggernaut offensively to win a World Series. The Giants have proved this twice. The Cardinals were not a great hitting team last year. They were, trust me, they were good, but they weren't a juggernaut offensively. They lost Albert Pujols. But situational hitting, in terms of, putting up runs, can you start rallies, can you drive in runners, can you get the big hit? These guys, if they don't have it, I'll be shocked. You have Puig, you have Ethier, you have Crawford, you have Gonzalez. Mark Ellis has been playing very well of late. Then you have Kemp and Crawford. Kemp and Hanley Ramirez. If they can get healthy, that's more than enough hitting. That's plenty of hitting. I mean, this could be a scary hitting team with Kemp and Hanley Ramirez, getting back on track. You're talking about, when healthy, maybe they haven't been it lately in the last year, but, in terms of normally, we're at the top of their position, the top of their class. So you add them in, if they could start, hitting well, and they have plenty of protection in the lineup, where, they're not going to get pitched around or anything, that could be a scary hitting team. It's already a fantastic hitting team. They're putting up tons of runs. But you add those two guys in, they're getting healthy, that could be fantastic. They could be a real juggernaut, which I think they already are up there. So hitting, absolutely. Fielding. I think I checked in terms of fielding percentage or some fielding statistic, I think they're 27th. Now, that's not good, but I don't see anybody out there who, first of all, I think their outfield, if they're all healthy, is going to be a very good defensive outfield. Their infield, I think it's not going to be like their outfield might be with Crawford, Puig, and Matt Kemp. Excuse me, but it should be formidable, and I don't see anybody on this team that's going to, give up outs, who's going to not make the routine plays. I see a lot of guys on this team who can at least make the routine play that aren't going to give up outs. You give up outs in baseball, you lose the game. It's just the way it is. It's the cardinal rule of baseball. So fielding, despite being very low on their, the fielding statistics portion of this, I say they don't have anybody that's really going to be a big liability in the field. So I'm going to have to check that off. Last portion of it, depth. Do they have depth in their pitching and their fielding? Or, fielding / hitting, like positional players, if that makes more sense. Pitching. Starting pitching. Plenty of depth. Their number 5 could probably be the number 3 on this team and give them solid innings in the playoffs. So, pitching-wise, plenty of depth. Fielding. I looked at their depth chart. They definitely, maybe except for catcher, they definitely have 2 guys for every spot. Heck, they even, they have 4 outfielders that could start on any team. So, depth can, with pitching, absolutely. Position players, yes, they do. That's 4 out of 4. There's no reason that this team, in terms of what they have, the intangibles, that they can't contend for the World Series title. There's absolutely no reason. So, give me your thoughts on that. And just one more thing, also give me your thoughts on this, is Yasiel Puig. This guy, in my opinion, when I look at most valuable player, a lot of people get tricked into, and it's not always baseball, but sports in general, most valuable player, they look at it as, oh, let's look at a stat. Oh, let's pull up the stats. No, that's not always the case. Now, do you have to have stats that are good enough to make you the most valuable player? Of course you do. I'm not oblivious to that, that portion of it. But you have to have that value and impact. There's a direct correlation between the two. The more valuable you are, the better impact you have on the team. Or vice versa, if you're a negative. So, I look at Yasiel Puig. I see that the Dodgers were looking dismal at the beginning of the season. They were much like the Angels, who tried to put a super team together, failed. Phillies tried to put a super team together, failed. Red Sox, same thing, failed. They were looking like that to me. But this guy, Yasiel Puig, a 5-tool player, much like Mike Trout did, it's like the NL version, right, with the Angels last year. The NL version with Puig, he comes in, all of a sudden there's this team, they start picking it up a little bit, picking it up, and now all of a sudden they're at the top of the league. That's not by accident. This team looked bad. He comes in, his 5-tool players, the passion and intensity which he plays the game with, they really picked it up. This guy, his impact on this team, his value to this team, where would they be without Yasiel Puig? This guy should be in the MVP conversation. I'll debate anybody on that. So thank you for watching. Also a shout out to Raging Bull Media. You can check out my feed. I subscribe to him. Fantastic channel, very entertaining, and also very informative. Take a look at that. Tell them I sent you. Thank you very much.